Acute food insecurity is projected to worsen in magnitude and severity across 18 hunger hotspots, including Nigeria. This was contained in a recent report from the United Nations. Nigeria, the most populous black nation, is already dealing with food shortages and high inflation amidst a remarkable economic slowdown. Abdullahi Ahmed tells us more.
Another warning emerges from global development partners, highlighting the imminent threat of famine across 18 hotspots, which could spark a humanitarian crisis. The report emphasized the immediate need for assistance to prevent famine in Gaza and Sudan, as well as the worsening hunger crisis in Haiti, Mali, and South Sudan. The report says economic challenges such as double-digit inflation and stagnation of local production had become major drivers of the crisis beyond recurrent conflicts in the region. The report also notes that Nigeria would be among the worst affected. Experts in Nigeria's agriculture sector say the gaps that currently exist makes the projections a wake-up call for government to step up and do the needful in order to avert the worst-case scenario.
Well, to me, these kinds of reports are rather alarming, but they are expected. I think we've seen the trajectory of nations' economies over the last 2 years, since COVID really. Nobody has been able to fully recover from the shocks of COVID. But, you know, if you see problems like this happening, it's for you to plan better, as opposed to always waiting for it to hit you in the face. As of last year, we already knew that food inflation was at a rapid pace. As at last count, inflation is now over 32%, where our target inflation is meant to be 12%. This is happening in all other countries around the globe. And unfortunately for Nigeria, with our devaluation of our currency, we also don't have the purchasing power to compete on the global scale for limited food supplies. So we are in a conundrum.
Government inconsistencies in policy direction have also been identified as major factors responsible for the underdevelopment of Nigeria's agri sector, which has the potential and capacity to guarantee food security and self-sufficiency.
The immediate past administration, to some extent, has tried in the repositioning agriculture in Nigeria. But honestly speaking, the present administration has not made any deliberate effort for now. And if care is not taken, worst will happen.
Despite the bleak projections, some believe there is still a window of opportunity to turn things around as millions of Nigerians continue to face untold hardship occasioned by the recent removal of fuel subsidy and a steep economic downturn.
Nigeria right now is in need of a Marshall Plan for food security. We need a dedicated plan of action that will increase the production of food within the country. And for me, it's not just the increase of production of food, it's twofold. We actually need to cultivate more land. We cannot rely on the previously cultivated land. When our farmers started cultivating land 40 years ago, we were only about 40 million people. And now we're 220 million people still relying on the same farmers to produce the kind of food we need. So we not only need to cultivate more land, we actually now need to increase the productivity of the farmers that are already cultivating land. This has to be a real big Marshall Plan, because Nigeria's population is still growing. And if your population is still growing, you need to be able to plan ahead. Investment is spending today to reap tomorrow. You cannot sit down right now and say that you're going to be doing short-term things that would come. Yes, in the interim, I'm hearing proposals that they want to consider food imports. Yes, that may guide us for the next 6 months. But then the dry season will come again and the food inflation will hit. We need a serious Marshall Plan.
Today, a bag of maize at local market, 100 kg, costs more than 80,000 naira. This is a big problem to Nigeria and the neighboring countries. And now we are in the planting season, meaning that we will not harvest maize again in the next 3-4 months. Meaning that if the same pattern has followed, then in the next 3 months, 4 months, a bag of fertilizer will cost, a bag of maize, will cost 100,000. And the Nigerian Labour Congress and the federal government is dragging on 50,000, 60,000 minimum wage.
As the new farming season gets underway, insecurity, high cost of farm implements remains key issues begging for solutions, with many farmers, especially in northern Nigeria, unsure about their investments this year. If the recent warning by the United Nations is anything to go by, a remarkably difficult time lies ahead. Abdullahi Ahmed, Trust TV News, Abuja.